The news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 FM.
Good day, welcome to your main newscast for today, Monday, March 21st, 2022. I'm Kevin Smith.
And I'm Amrita Koshal.
And in your headlines today, Guyana could take more than a decade to recover from a severe oil spill, according to the Yellowtail Environmental Impact Assessment. Startup of Liza 2 operations in blatant violation of permit, says the former EPA head. Opposition being stonewalled, says government blocking every parliamentary scrutiny of oil issues. And civil society group says dissent being stifled by government. Fishermen robbed at gunpoint while offloading boat. And Guyana and Suriname, private sectors deepen ties and eye partnership in agriculture, mining and energy. Stay tuned to stay informed.
Nothing in life is free, but the My Digicel app is. You don't need to be on a data plan to use the app. You can conveniently chat with Ruby or an agent for help. Check your account balance, activate a Prime bundle, or gift it to a friend. Send credit. Check the Georgetown and Burpees Bridge schedules. Activate a roaming plan. Play Shake to Win for cool prizes. So don't worry about a data plan, buddy. Download the My Digicel app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store today. Digicel, better together.
And now for the news in detail. Even after cleaning up activities, the lasting and devastating impacts of an oil spill stemming from the Yellowtail project site could take more than a decade before the country fully recovers. The Yellowtail project is ExxonMobil's fourth development that is currently awaiting approval and is located in the Stabroek Block. Production of some 250,000 barrels of oil per day is scheduled to commence in late 2025 or early 2026, with operations continuing for at least 20 years. According to a subsection of the Environmental Impact Assessment, in the unlikely event of a large marine oil spill, little irreversible damage would be expected, although it could take a few decades or more for all resources, that should be a decade or more, for all resources to fully recover. The text goes on to explain that the impacts of the spill would be dependent on several factors, inclusive of the volume or severity of the spill, as well as the duration of the release, in addition to the time of year at which the release was to occur.
And we now tell you that ExxonMobil has started producing oil at its second offshore oil development in the Stabroek Block, the Liza 2 development. However, the operator has allegedly violated the permit by commencing the pumping of Guyana's oil without first giving assurance that it will cover costs beyond the insurance offered by its subsidiary, ESSO. This is according to former head of the Environmental Protection Agency, Dr. Vincent Adams. To this end, he concluded that Exxon's $2 billion insurance must be seen as a hoax, as it is nothing short of a distraction from the company's non-compliance with the Liza 2 permit.
And moving on. Apart from submitting to the National Assembly questions and motions on oil and gas issues that need to be addressed, there is another mechanism the political opposition has at its disposal to ensure scrutiny of the government's decisions and policies. The mechanism pertains to two key standing committees of the House that have not examined a single decision or policy ever executed by the PPPC government since the 12th Parliament was opened on September 1st, 2020. Sherwin Holder, PNCR's chairman and vice chair of the Parliamentary Sectoral Committee on Economic Services, was keen to know that efforts have been made to push for more meetings to scrutinize the oil sector, but the opposition is essentially being stonewalled. Read the details in today's Kaieteur News.
And in other stories, civil society group Policy Forum Guyana has again called out the Irfan Ali-led government for what it says is the administration's role in shrinking public voices by not involving them in important policy-making bodies and decision-making. The body cited what it said is a deliberate act by the government to weaken the role of civil organizations and individuals by media attacks. The local group said in a public missive that civil space in Guyana is shrinking, and one way that is happening is with the quote-unquote exclusion of civil society from policy-making bodies such as the EPA, Natural Resource Fund, statutory commissions, and boards. Policy Forum Guyana highlighted that in keeping civil society at bay, there seems to be an acceleration of the state-owned media agencies from information outlets into organs of party-directed public relations that are mobilized against civil society.
And moving on. 5 fishermen returning from sea on Saturday were robbed at gunpoint by 2 bandits while offloading their boat at Good Fortune on the west bank of Demerara. The men, ages 61, 59, 55, 47, and 44, told Region 3 police that they were robbed during the wee hours of Saturday. They recalled that as they were offloading their boat, 2 men armed with a gun and a knife approached them and stuck them up. The bandits relieved them of $303,000 in cash and 2 cell phones before making their escape. According to investigators, the suspects are known perpetrators. Investigations are ongoing.
And moving on, Guyana and Suriname are set to tackle 3 main areas of business as the private sector of the English and Dutch-speaking nations strengthen bilateral relations. Guyana's Private Sector Commission and the Suriname Trade and Industry Association have established a Guyana-Suriname Private Sector Business Council dedicated to strengthening economic ties and initiatives regarding shared interests and the creation of the envisioned single market and economy. PSC Chairman Paul Chung said that the council, which was formed on March 16th, is gearing towards immediately commencing work in the areas of agriculture, mining, and energy. In tackling the areas mentioned, Chung said that the body will be looking at existing trade barriers. And the time has now moved on to 12 hours 8. We will return with more news for you shortly after the break.
This is GHK Lal inviting you to join me weekdays from Monday to Friday on the National Outlook for commentary on a range of issues. Immediately after the 12 noon and 7 p.m. newscasts on Kaieteur Radio at 99.1 FM and 99.5 FM. Looking forward to you sharing in the conversation.
Welcome back. Let us continue with the news. When the former APNU-AFC government decided to close 4 non-performing sugar estates in 2016 and 2017, the then administration decided to place the assets of Wales, East Demerara, Rose Hall, and Skeldon sugar estates under the control of NISL. The order made under the Public Corporations Act states that the title of property in the sense meaning all movable and immovable property owned, used, leased, or licensed by Gaisuco or the state, save and except Albion Estate, Blairmont and Iflot Estate, shall, as from the appointed day, stand transferred to and shall be vested in NISL absolutely, free and clear from all claims and liabilities.
And we now tell you, in keeping with plans to overhaul and modernize Guyana's legislative landscape, the government, through the Attorney General's Chambers and the Ministry of Legal Affairs, has embarked on an initiative to consolidate and revise all of the laws of Guyana, including principal and subsidiary legislation in force as at the 31st of December 2022. The release noted that the last consolidation and revision exercise was undertaken pre-2012. That exercise produced the 2012 revised edition of the laws of Guyana. And now time for your COVID-19 update. 11 new COVID-19 cases were on Sunday recorded here, with some 5 persons in the ICU, the Ministry of Health has stated. Since the first case was recorded here back in March 2020, 1,226 persons have died. Some 63,194 infections have been recorded to date.
And on that note, we now wrap things up with the page 7 of today's Kaieteur News. Oh dear Guyanese, how long? Everyone from all over coming to Guyana to get rich off our wealth, but as they reap Guyana's riches, the greatest number of Guyanese are getting poor. In fact, many of our brothers and sisters are poorer despite all of our natural resources wealth. Something is wrong with this harsh reality, where we Guyanese forever live in hopes and place our dreams and potential that never touch us, never seem to lift us up. Now we have all this oil, and from every indication, poorer and weaker Guyanese, the many left out Guyanese, are worst off for it. The sweet promises from politicians are endless. The bitter reality of Guyanese lives is that it is empty and lacking in fulfillment. Brothers and sisters, fellow Guyanese, for how long are we going to let leaders rub our noses into the dirt? For how much longer are we going to sit idly by and let the tricky, snaky, and slippery leave us disappointed and dispirited? And with that, we've come to the end of today's News at Noon. I'm Kevin Smith.
And I'm Amrita Koshal.
Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's Newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise